Hey y'all, and welcome back to my garden. So today we are on part 3 of this backyard makeover because it is the middle of August and everything is super sad and super tired from it being so hot and so rainy. So today we're going to be working on two of my favorite flower beds in my backyard, and that is my shade flower beds. So I love shade plants, all things hostas, hydrangeas, ferns, impatiens. I just absolutely love them. So we're going to be working on those today. And so if you haven't seen my other two videos, first we did the cottage garden and then we did our little skinny side pool garden. So go back and watch those for part 1 and part 2. So today is part 3. And then tomorrow we'll have part 4, which is going to be like the grand finale of it all. But I can't wait to get started here today and show you all these beautiful shade plants. All right, guys, let's get started. Okay, so from starting from last year, this was just absolutely all rocks. Nothing in here at all. And we have added in all of this beauty with just in a year and a half. So look how beautiful it's become. And it's become a little bit unruly. So this is one of our zinnias from last year that we planted, one of the floret blends. And she has come up here and has flopped over. So I think the time has come. I'm going to pick a beautiful bouquet off of her, but I'm going to take her out because she is taking over the whole sidewalk here, and that is just not the look that I'm going for. One of the other things that self-seeded was the impatiens that I had last year. So it's so neat just to kind of see where the seeds scattered and they came up, and then we had another one come up down there. So that was really cool. One of the things I'm really loving is the hydrangeas over here. They're so beautiful. Some kind of weird bug right there. And then also one of the favorites of my girls is this painted fern. So that was new that we added this year. These hostas, we just were like transplants, but it needs a little bit of TLC, guys. It is it's looking a little bit rough. Okay, so let me get you down here close. So this happened last year and it's happened again. See this tunnel? So I asked my dad about it and he thought it was like some type of crab, but I think it might be a cicada wasp because I see a cicada back here. So what they do is the cicada wasp will sting a cicada and then drag it back into its hole. And it has another one over here. Not as open. But anyway, I need to address that issue because this definitely is not good for my plants for it to have dirt all over it. So regardless if it's a cicada wasp or a crab or whatever it is, it's not good being here in my garden. This little echinacea I planted last year, so we just got our first blooms. And it was one plant and I separated it into 3. So I think there's another one, yes, right down here. So it hasn't bloomed yet, but look how pretty that is. Ooh, I'm seeing some worm activity, guys. So we need to get our BT out. Let's see if I can get it to focus in. There we go. One here, one there, another one right there. So we'll mix up some BT and get that sprayed in here because I know the worms really like to eat on these impatiens because they did last year. But let's go ahead and get this all cleaned up. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and just pull these caterpillars off by hand. Thought I saw 3 earlier. One of them may have scooted away when he saw me. Oh, there it is. Got those off. These are the snapdragons that bloom later in the year, so they can withstand a lot more of the heat. But I'm going to go ahead and cut the ones back that are thin. You can also save the seeds from these little pods there. These really need to be staked. Oh, goodness. Kind of a little bit messy. But they're so pretty, and I like to cut them for arrangements. Trying to keep the ones that have the little buds on them. But the ones that have already finished blooming, I'll take those off. Kind of a tangled mess. Oops, lost one of my blooms. I can put that one with my other flowers I'm going to cut. This hosta here is getting a little bit burned. Probably gets a little bit too hot when the sun comes in this area. The nice thing about this being planted so thickly is I don't have as many weeds. Some weeds, but not as many. So what I've done with these heucheras is I started off with just a couple, and then I've been separating them as I go. A little lamium underneath there. Lamium tend to burn really bad in my area, so I'll show you even in a shade garden for us, they're still getting too hot. And then I just kind of go around and clean up these heuchera leaves, the dried up ones. To me, cleaning up the heuchera a lot easier than cleaning up that lamb's ear. Ugh. That was about to gross me out yesterday on that video. Caladiums are really pretty. And we got a grass hiding in here. Caladiums we grew from the bulbs that we bought. We went ahead and pre-started them and put them out. Weeds are hard to get to. They're underneath everything. Okay, so let's tackle this little mound of dirt here. I don't really know what's going on, but I don't want my heuchera to be covered in this dirt. You can see our sand here. I've been adding more compost to this bed as we go. Oh my goodness, it's completely just covered up this plant. Wow. All this dirt, it just dug from underneath the ground. Came in there pretty deep too. There's ants everywhere. Not an ant bed though. Okay. Trying to get as many of the leaves up as I can. Wow. Can't tell where the tunnel started on this one. Okay. Well, at least the leaves are up now, out from underneath all that sand. That's crazy. This snapdragon's gotten really, really floppy, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of clean it up. Oop, see another one of those caterpillars. Get it. Wow, that's one plant over there. One over here. I think I'm just going to go ahead and pull this one up. This one's just kind of flopping everywhere. And that'll give that hosta some room to breathe. You know what? Now I'm looking at all this tangled mess. Maybe I just want to go ahead and take it all up. Maybe I'm just tired of it looking that messy. Let's just do that. We'll let everything else kind of get a little time to breathe without snapdragons falling all over them. Goodness gracious. Oh yes, that looks a lot better. Sometimes I think that I make a right choice and then I'm like regretting it, but I don't regret that one. Not really the right place to put snapdragons. Okay. You know, now that I've got that done, now I wish these cone flowers were set a little bit further back. This was a little transplant of a Heuchera that I did there. And let's address that mound over there of dirt. I almost have one bucket full already. And I've got a little bouquet over here already started. I need to get a little water, but look at this. Weird. Weird, weird, weird. Didn't like this last year too. So, have y'all ever had anything tunnel in your garden like this? What are you really supposed to do with it? See, there's a dead cicada right here. And the girls said they thought it was going into that hole. And I'm like, well, did that wasp make that hole, or did something else make that hole? I'm gonna put a rock down in it. I don't know what it is. Grosses me out though. I'm just gonna move the dirt around. Spread it out. This flower bed's gonna sink with all this dirt it just removed. Look at all that dirt. Maybe it's able to dig a hole because we have so much sand. I think one of Joy's students gave her this little rock, so she put it over here in the garden. So it says, bless this garden. Okay. I don't know, guys, what that was, but we'll just get that covered up there. It's just kind of grody that happens. I don't know what it is and why it's doing it. I think I want to go ahead and tackle this zinnia because I want to make a little flower arrangement with the snapdragons. And we don't want them to be without water for a while. Cut all of these off that are pretty. It is really pretty, but just in a bad spot. I think a lot of my seeds came up when I was gone. They didn't get weeded out, which has kind of been cool because I would normally probably would have weeded them out. Okay, I think that's the best ones. And then we have one that we can save the seeds for next year. So we're going to go bye-bye. I have to get my loppers to get this one out because it's so big. Okay, guys. See, that's my little floppy one. There's our little bouquet. So all is not lost. Okay, so this area is looking a lot more neat and tidy. I'm not sure if I want to take off the spent blooms of the quick fire. I might just leave those on. But we need to get in here and do a little bit of cleaning up. Not too bad. So I have a little lamium there, and then I have a little bit underneath here. And then as you go down this way, this lamium has completely died. So maybe it's too much sun. I'm not sure right here. That one is a little bit more protected by that hydrangea. So one of the benefits of doing these garden cleanouts is that you can really get in here and see what's going on with your plants, especially when they start getting to be this thick. It's hard to see, but we've already found caterpillars, something tunneling, and it looks like something may be chewing on these impatiens right here too. Not seeing anything quite yet. Yep, this lamium has died. Usually when I have a perennial that dies, what I like to do is to leave the root ball just in case it might come back. Because last year my astilbe did that. My astilbe died completely down to the ground, and I just cut it at the root ball and it came back. So if you have one that dies like that, you may want to try that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this impatient back. Something's been chewing off the leaves there. And maybe go ahead and hit it with a little bit of BT too. Not seeing any caterpillars, but I did have them in here last year. So part of that lamium has died, but then part of it's still there. So we're just going to cut out the dead. See where it had died? Then we got a little tree growing in here. And this little Heuchera got a lot of brown leaves on it. I've got a little Heuchera back here that's growing in the rocks. Look at that, guys. Let's plant him up here in the front. If we can get him to grow. Put him right here. Okay. So that Heuchera was growing right there in that rock over there. So I moved him over here. I'll have to put some water on it. And then look over here. Had some lamium to die back there. But then we got one little lamium coming up right here. This little area just has a mind of its own, doesn't it? And this is what I was kind of cleaning off, these little brown leaves underneath here. Can y'all believe that this comes from one seed? That is amazing. Oh my goodness. Ooh, that makes it look a lot better, doesn't it? Okay, so this Heuchera over here, this whole section has died out. Oh my goodness, the whole thing just came up. It's got a baby on the side of it. This whole part died. So let's get this taken care of next. I couldn't even see that that was going on in here. The other part of the plant looks fine. That one part died out. Okay, let's see. So you can see Heucheras are really easy to propagate. But yeah, so there it is. Not sure what happened. Oh, whew, I'm making a mess though. Let me dig a hole and put it back down in here. Okay. To wash all these leaves off. Then with this one, oopsie, we could take this one off. That's a new one. So even though we had one to die, or a piece of it to die, we got another baby off of it. Have a little roots on it. And let's see, this clump. Almost like the original clump. See? Like the original plant died and then all the babies just kept living. This one doesn't look very good, so we'll just do that one. Dirt off. That was interesting. See, you never know what you're going to find. I am seeing some snails, so I need to treat that with some snail bait, especially right in here. Maybe that's what happened to it. Okay, so I just got finished over here with this section. Now I'm over here, and I think I'm seeing the tunneling again right in here. Oh my goodness, guys. I don't know what is going on with this flower bed. I don't know. Okay, so this lamium kind of died back in some areas, but it's got some little babies coming up. So I'm only going to cut off pieces that are completely dead, and we'll let the little babies can kind of root those down in the soil. So what I'm going to do is kind of dig a little bit here. I'll scratch a little bit on this branch to encourage some root growth. And I'm just going to cover it up with some dirt. Hopefully we can get some more lamium to grow. Up. So wherever I kind of roughed it up at, it's more likely for it to want to grow roots. Another one here. There is a weed, so let's go ahead and get this weed out. It's a little yellow jacket. Okay, so these hostas still have their flower stems on them. Let's cut off. Same kind of thing. It's got some burning. Maybe too much sun in the afternoon. I'm really impressed with this lamium. This is the Purple Dragon Dead Nettle, and it was one that I bought at a nursery near Raleigh. Okay, woo. This is what the seed heads look like from a hosta. If you open this up inside, these are not mature yet, but you'll let them, typically you'd let them dry off, but that's what the seeds look like. They're like little black seeds, and you can scatter them to and fro and have hostas everywhere. So we have some little visitors. Winifred, what do you have to say for yourself? Ginger? Are we looking to get some more sun on our bodies? Mm-hmm. She's my sunbather. She has a brown belly. Winnie. Now we need to tackle this ornamental oregano. And it has all these really pretty purple blooms, but it's already finished. So I just want to kind of cut it off of the walkway. Kind of grows like a ground cover. It smells really good like oregano, but it's not like a culinary oregano. So I picked this one up with my friend Kim, with Backyard Blooms by Kim, last year. I think the name of the nursery was called Wilson's, and it's in Charlotte or near Charlotte. I can't remember. This is a foxglove that came up from seed. So it should bloom next year. That is a nice texture in here. And then we have all these little tiny weeds that want to grow around here. So I feel like all of these heucheras are doing this weird thing. And let me know, guys, if yours do this, where it's wanting to, like, part of it die, but then it's sending out all of these little babies. And it's almost like I have to take it up and put it back in the ground. And this one over here is doing it too. So it's kind of weird. This is not doing it. The red ones aren't doing it, but these over here are wanting to do that. So I don't know if I should go ahead and just kind of separate it and see what it does. Make it happy, because it looks like it's not very happy right now. I'm going to put you guys outside the gate for a second. We can see if we can get this, what's going on with it. Let me get my hoary knife and see if I can pry this up. Okay. There's one clump. So I'm going to add some land and sea compost in here, but this land and sea compost has gotten super wet. It's kind of messy. There he is. That's a cicada wasp. That's who's digging those holes. Mm. Okay, so this is our second shade bed we're going to be working on. You can see this one has filled out really, really good with the creeping Jenny. And then we added some ajuga in last year, and it's also doing really well. Asparagus ferns, we were able to overwinter those in zone 8, which was really nice. These are my astilbe that I said died back, and you can see they're kind of doing the same thing this year. So I'm going to get that cleaned up over there, and then just a general cleanup, and then we'll get everything amended here in our soil. But I think it's going to make a really big difference, because we do have a lot of weeds going on here. And then we have some burnt leaves over here on this hosta. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. My pool pump is just around the corner there. This hosta burned last year, and it's burned again this year. And so I'm going to move it in the winter. I was supposed to move it last winter, and I didn't. But in the meantime, I'm going to cut back some of the leaves. I know it will end up exposing more of the leaves that are underneath, but kind of been getting tired of looking at them. And if we just have to keep on clipping until fall, we'll just have to keep on clipping until there's not much left. But this one definitely needs to be in a lot darker shade, where this one over here is fine and this one over here is fine. But this one right here just is very tender to the light. Very, very tender. So this one needs to be in a lot deeper shade, and I'm not sure where I can move it because my deep shade is where the deer have access to. This hosta is still blooming. It's so pretty. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. We won't take all of them off. Lots of these little weeds. My daddy called mimosa weeds. And then I'm going to come in here and just grab up this creeping Jenny. Ooh, it's got some weird looking worms underneath here. I don't know what those are, but they are gross. Lots of snails. And then we're just going to clip this back. Give it a little creeping Jenny haircut. There we go. Looks nice. I definitely think I like the Ajuga more than I do the creeping Jenny. But if you had a place where you wanted a lot of ground cover to grow super quick, this creeping Jenny will do the trick. And it looks like it is a hotel for snails underneath here. I'm just going to sweep up all of these snails and put them in my bucket. It smells really sweet over here. What I'm trying to do is to get this creeping Jenny off this Ajuga. Oh, that's what smells good. It's this hosta. It's super good. How pretty it is. It kind of smells like jasmine. I could smell it perfuming the air. That is so neat. I love that. I cut back tons of creeping Jenny right there. There's still tons of it left. And there was another one of those wasp nests down in there. I looked it up. It said they don't really bother you. So, I don't know. I guess I'll have to learn how to live with them. This will still be May dye all the way back down to the ground again this year. That's what it kind of looks like it wants to do. This is a hard area for me to keep extra moist because the pine trees have a lot of roots in here. They keep growing in here. So I'm always having to get this bed more water. So this will still be, might want to be a little bit more shaded and a little bit more wet. some kind of weird mold is growing around this heuchera right there, all the way around. So I went ahead and cut it back, and maybe it can air out a little bit. It might help to solve that problem. Also, the creeping Jenny was wanting to creep over this way because I want to keep her in here. I don't want her creeping over into the other section. So I'm trying to keep her contained. She's a hard girl to contain. You can't even see, I've got a lungwort underneath here. It just hides underneath this big hosta. Okay, so I think we've mostly got this cleaned up. Now we just need to add some compost in here. And I wanted to show you guys, I was doing a little experiment trying to root some hydrangeas. Let's get down here. This one looks like it didn't take. This one's kind of going out and this one's kind of going out. But I think this one might be rooting in. But I kind of want to look at this one and see what it looks like. Yeah, looks like it tried to do a little root maybe. Right here. I don't know. I'll put it back in there. Let's see this one. That one's definitely rooting in though. But that's the kind of things I like to play around with. I like to see what I can propagate. A little propagation pot. So I almost stuck my head in my spider over here. But this is our spider that's been hanging out with us. And we just let her do her little thing over here. This is her little home. We just have to remember not to put our head in her. That's her little space over there. She's ready for Halloween. Okay guys, so the shade flower beds are done and I couldn't be more pleased. So let me show you what they look like. Okay, so we'll start where we ended. So this is our shade flower bed on the left side of the house. We got all the leaves cleaned up from the hostas, all the spent flowers. We left this flower because that one is still blooming and smells so good. And get all of the weeds pulled up, all of those extra little weeds and all the little mess that was growing in here. And then we got our compost put down. I think that looks so pretty. Look at all the different color and the patterns and the texture. Absolutely gorgeous. Everything in here just shines after I got it all rinsed off. And it's looking so good. So let's go to the other side. What are you doing? Huh? Gingy. Gingy. What are you doing, girl? What are you doing? Yeah, big girl. Hardy's out there playing with Winnie. She's having a good time. She loves playing ball. Ginger doesn't know how to play ball, but Winnie does. Okay, so over here, this is where we started. So now we're just going to have to learn how to live with our cicada wasp over here. A little hole. But everything is nice and clean. I'm so glad we got those snapdragons cut back. I think that looks really good. Everything is just so neat and tidy right now. And everything just sparkles with that water dripping off the leaves. I would love to have this over in my woodland garden, but I know the hostas and the hydrangeas would not survive out there. But there are a lot of things that would with the deer. But look how pretty that is. One of my favorite places to garden on my property. Okay guys, so that is going to do it today for part 3. We got those shade flower beds cleaned up and I couldn't be more happy about them. And then stay tuned to tomorrow for the 4th day. And this will be the ending of our 4-part series of doing this backyard makeover. And I'm so excited to get that done. and I think it's going to look absolutely beautiful. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you have a chance to get in your gardens today. Thanks for gardening with me. Bye, friends.